Welcome back to Coding with Kyle. In today's episode, we will refactor our application and add better error handling using the result type to have a more informative response from our application. Let's get started refactoring our code. We're going to be using the result type, which comes from the base library, and it's going to return a variant. A variant is a type, like our bio and profile here, except that a variant, each attribute will be tagged with a hash, such as not found, or already exists, that we can use to have an expressive way of indicating, for in this case, an error message. Unlike normal types, only one type of a variant is expected. So we can use a variant here, where previously we'd been returning bool. We can instead return a result, .result, which then expects two types for OK and error. For the OK type, we'll use this common pattern, which is called the unit type. It's an empty tuple. It's also a commonly used simple OK in Rust as well. And for an error, we'll expect a type of error, one of the variants we just declared above. This error type will allow us to say, instead of simply something was wrong, which we could also get by throwing an error or trapping, instead we can nicely handle it with an expressive error. So here, instead of return false, we return an error tag of ERR, and then the variant of the error that we want to relay. In this case, we couldn't create one because it already exists. And for the success case, we can return OK with our unit type. Now for read, we are returning an optional profile. This is an OK type, and it is considered a good pattern. I will be refactoring it, however, in order that all of our methods return a result so that we have some consistency in our API. But I do want to emphasize it is okay to return an optional value. So here we can use a nice utility. This is optional at this point, but we can return result.from an option, which if you pass it an option, it will return that result if true. Otherwise, it will return the second parameter we pass of an error. And so we can type that by saying we return result.result with a profile as the success case and an error otherwise. So now we can return the same result type as we used in create for our update and delete methods. We're returning an error not found if we couldn't find one to update, otherwise returning the OK variant. And then same thing below. And that completes our refactor. Let's see what it looks like now that we execute it. So here, a success response for create gives us a variant of OK. And when we read that information, we get a variant of OK, and then a record of the profile. However, if we read a profile that does not exist, we get this nice error message that explicitly tells us that it was not found. Now, with this refactor, we're all set up to go into the next episode, where we add authentication, and now we can handle different types of error states based on authentication or resources, depending on what goes wrong. I'll see you next time.